Good morning. Today we're going to work through maybe 3 or 4 postures or poses or practices, whatever you want to call them, that's going to help improve our ankle stability as well as the relationship between our ankles and our hips. And so this is key if you're someone who enjoys going for long walks, hiking, running, even gardening, right? Anything that requires our ankles to be able to work well with our knees and our hips so we can function well. So we're going to start by coming to sit back on our heels. And now this might be unavailable to a lot of people. So if that's the case, you can use a folded up blanket or a small pillow. I have a small pillow, so that's what I'm going to use. And you can bring that in behind the knees, and then you can sit back on it. So you might find that you need to be a little bit higher up, or you might be a little bit lower down. Everybody's going to be different, so don't feel like you have to match exactly what I'm doing. And then you'll feel perhaps a stretch or something, some kind of sensation through the top of the ankles. Now, if this is a lot for your knees or your hips, like I said before, you can bring yourself up a little bit higher, but be where you can let your bum kind of settle down. If you need to have something softer underneath your feet, you can also fold a blanket. And be in a place where you can breathe with ease. So as you sit here, notice your breath. Notice the sensations in your body. I'm feeling a lot at my ankles right now. And then you might just wish to stay here. This might be enough for you. If you want to explore a little bit of hip mobility along with being in this position, you can continue to follow along with me. So I'm going to bring my hands to my hips so I can feel my hip points at the front, and I'm just wrapping my thumbs around to the back. And what I'm going to do is keep my torso neutral, and I'm going to tilt my pelvis forward. So I'm flexing at the hips. So this angle between the front of my hips and my thighs is getting smaller. And then I'm coming back. So you'll notice how my spine isn't rounding. I'm not arching my back and sticking my bum back. I want to maintain this connection between my ribs and my hips and move through the pelvis. So from neutral, pelvis, rotating around the legs, which are fixed, and then back. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It can be teeny tiny. Everyone's going to have a different level of mobility. And then we can also try going the other direction. So tilting the pelvis backward, again, without arching the back or getting really grippy in the upper body. And you might find that having some blocks behind you or some pillows, so that as you tilt back, the hands can come down onto the blocks or maybe onto the floor behind you, right? So this is where we can start to get curious with our movement and explore what is available to us, what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And know that you can come out of this position at any time. Alternating between flexion and extension. We'll do one more. Lifting up, and then from here it might feel really nice to come up to standing, and I'm going to come out of view for a moment here. So wherever you are, just coming to standing, feel the connection between your feet and the ground, and notice what it is that you feel. So just be there a little bit longer, feeling the sensations throughout your feet, your ankles, and your legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into a low lunge position. So I had to readjust my camera just a little bit so I would be in frame. So we're going to come into our low lunge. I have my right foot forward. And then we're just sensing into the middle of your heel. Feel that connection to the ground, the base of the big toe and the base of the baby toe. And then bring your right hand to the outside of your thigh and near the top. And then press your leg into your hand. And then notice what that experience is. How does it change your felt experience of your leg, your foot, your hips, or maybe somewhere else? Notice if the breath changes. And then you can let your arms hang, or the hands can rest on the knee. And we're going to take the hips straight forward. So now that the knee is going past the ankle, and then back. So we've got movement at the hip, movement at the knee, and movement at the ankle. And we just want to find a harmony in this movement. Allowing these three joints to move together. And notice if you can find a range where the torso stays relatively neutral and the hips aren't jutting out to the side. So we really just want the hips to move straight forward, knee going past the ankle. And then you can start to hold this. Only go as far as your front heel stays on the ground. Notice if you're getting grippy through your toes. You might feel some effort through your thigh. There might be some stretch in that back leg. Each time you come forward, you can hold it for a few breaths. And then we can switch sides. So settle into your lunge, sensing into the 3 points of the front foot. Left hand to the side of the leg, and then press your thigh into your hand. And then when you're ready, taking the hips forward and back. And only going as far forward as the hips don't do anything wonky. So you see it's squared off towards the front of your mat, knee going past the ankle. Let the movement come through the legs. Sometimes we can have a tendency to want to create the movement through the upper body, and then that's limiting the movement here. We can get stronger, improve our balance, feel more stable when we connect with the parts that are meant to be moving. Let's try a couple more. Definitely feel a lot more work coming through this side. Beautiful. And then from here, coming up to standing. Feeling into the 3 points of the feet again, and just noticing what it is that you feel. I can definitely feel a much more much taller, much lighter in the legs, but also feeling more grounded, which is really nice feeling for me. So just notice what you feel. It might be something completely different. There's no right or wrong. And if you don't notice anything, that's okay too. That's just what you notice. And then we're going to take our movement into a chair sit or a squat. So we're going to keep our feet hip distance apart. Feel into the 3 points of the feet, the center of the heel, the base of the big toe, and the base of the baby toe. And the movement, again, is through our hips, our knees, and our ankles. And we're going to take the hips back and let the knees bend. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see it from an angle, this angle. Hips, knees, and ankles moving at an even tempo and keeping the torso neutral. So without arching the back, flaring the ribs, here, here, and at the ankles. And so as you explore this, go slowly. Watch that the knees keep tracking forward, or the position that they start in, right? So you don't want the knees to start to drop in or start to go out or losing that connection with the feet. And if you feel something grippy or the ribs flaring as you come down, like if this starts to happen, see if you can find a range where you stop before that happens. A common pattern here, if we don't have a good connection for the hip flexion, the bum will drop down and the knees come forward. Or there's a tendency to move through the knees and not through the hips. So watch me here. So I'm going through my knees and nothing's really happening at the hips. The bum's just kind of dropping down. So we want to find hips going back. So if you have like a dowel or a broom handle, which I don't have with me right now, so I'm just going to pretend with my strap. So if you've got something that you can bring across the hips and then draw back, so you think of the pelvis as folding over that broom handle, that's just going to help you maybe connect with that movement a little bit better. Or if you have a mirror, or you can watch your reflection or watch yourself on a video screen, you can see whether or not this is happening or this is happening. Hips, knees, ankles. So the knees can go past the ankles. And then once you've found that range that you can move in without a lot of other things happening in the upper body, then you can hold it. Maybe bringing the palms together. And be in a place where you can breathe. So if you're holding your breath, or if you feel really braced and really tense, consider that you've gone too far and just come up and reset and maybe go a little bit smaller. So there's going to be effort in the legs for sure. But we want to be in a place where you can breathe with ease. Ease and effort. Effortless effort. Stability and strength. And then you can come up, take a break, take a little rest, and then maybe explore it again. So if you want, you can put the video on pause and you can keep exploring. Or if that feels like it's been enough, then just take a break. So our next practice is going to be a wall sit. So you're going to need a wall, and I'm just realizing now that I don't have a wall out here. So I'm going to do my best with what is, might just take this plant down for a second. Okay. So using a wall, you're going to lean against the wall, and then you're going to take your feet a foot, foot and a half away from the wall. So if you've got really long legs, you might be more like looking at a foot and a half or 2 feet. And then we're going to slide down just a little bit. So we don't want the knees to go past the ankles. Like this would be too far. Like this takes a lot of effort to hold. So just slide yourself back up. Keep your feet about hip distance apart. And then just come down a little bit. As if you're going to hold this for, 20 minutes or so. Just be really gentle. You can let the head rest on the wall if it comes back, and let your arms hang by your side. And then again, sense into the 3 points of the feet. You can look straight ahead or maybe close your eyes. And breathe softly here. Feel the connection between your feet, your legs, and your hips. You might notice that your abdomen just kind of naturally engages here. You don't have to actively brace or draw the belly in. It's just doing the work to hold you up. And there's effort in the legs, and the arms are relaxed. You could also do this with a block between the thighs for a little bit of added stability and support. So note how your back feels. If the back's not feeling so great, come up, and then don't go quite as far. Only go as far as your back doesn't hurt. Or explore with a block. That might be enough just to bring the legs into a slightly more supportive position. So this is kind of what I mean by like a one size doesn't fit all. So sometimes it takes a little bit of exploration about how we can find a little bit more support that's appropriate for us. We'll take a few more breaths here. And slide yourself up, take the feet back, and then come away from the wall and notice what you feel in standing. So it's not uncommon for people to report feeling more grounded or lighter, more buoyant, taller, more connected. So everyone's going to have different words that they use to describe how they feel. And everyone's experience in a way is unique and individual. And if this is a sensation or a feeling that you like, note that your body's showing you that it's available to you. And you can always have this feeling available to you with some consistency and some practice. Right? So if this is a novel, if this is a unique feeling, know that it's something that is possible. And if you don't feel anything different, just note that that's not in your level of awareness right now, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just where you are at this moment. Yeah, so those are 4 practices to help work on ankle mobility as well as hip mobility. And this is going to help create more stability and strength for your movement as well. So have fun exploring, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Have a great day.